I've got a business, Blossoming Brands, and I help clients with their personal brand. And it's a coaching and a training business. I've got a number of high-profile clients as well as some corporate clients, and I work with a lot of individuals. Obviously, the nature of my work is very personal with people, and confidentiality is something that's very important to me. And one thing I wanted to be able to do is to expand my business and therefore take it into the online space and to be able to develop a number of products that enable me to upload my IP or translate my IP into the online environment to enable me to work with a large number of people and to turn it into a real business rather than just people paying for my one-to-one time. So obviously confidentiality was something very important to me anyway because of the work that I was doing, but working with corporates in that way meant that I really needed to be thinking about confidentiality with regards to their data as well, but also to ensure that if people are going to be accessing that service in the online space, it needed to be available for them to do that, and what would happen if the cloud providers were not be able to satisfy the availability. So I had a number of concerns before going into looking at products for me. So I spent a lot of time looking around for a number of options for me, and there are a number of options available to me to be able to do what I want to do, but there was one supplier that really came out strong in terms of being able to satisfy the number of the things I was looking for. Having identified this one supplier, then I decided to sort of have a deeper look at what they were offering. There was no real mention of security or anything like that on their website in terms of the marketing that they offer, in terms of the stuff that's in the fancy writing. But so I was prompted to look into their terms and conditions. They had a terms and conditions, and they also had a privacy policy. When I checked the terms and conditions, there were just 2 points that mentioned security within the whole of their T's and C's, and one thing they mentioned in there was they take reasonable precautions with the data, and for me I was like, well, that sounds a bit vague. So I sent them an email and asked them what they meant by reasonable precautions, because of course I needed some assurances that they were going to be taking this very seriously. I've got my obligations to the contracts I have with my clients, and I need to know that I'm doing what I can, so that when I'm sitting in front of a corporate saying, yes, I can assure you I'm doing everything I can, that I really do know that I am doing everything, and I need to pass that down the chain to any suppliers that I deal with. So that was important for me to get that assurance from them. So I sent them an email, and they came back saying, well, we take our security very, very seriously, and then didn't answer my question about what they meant by reasonable precautions, and then just started talking about backups and servers. So that was part of that obviously availability was part of my question as well, so they answered that, but really in terms of whether or not they were taking any steps and what those steps were, they certainly weren't able to provide any assurance on that level. I went back to ask them again to reiterate the question, and they didn't. They again skirted the issue, came back with a response that really wasn't what I was asking for. It's quite clear that it was asking an entirely different question. And then the support call, it indicated that they basically closed that call off saying it had been satisfied, the customer was satisfied, and I hadn't gone back saying that was something I was happy with as a response. So, the upshot of that was really that they weren't interested in providing anything more to me. It really wasn't on their radar. They didn't obviously feel it was important enough to give me the response that I needed. The service is a service I pay monthly, so for them obviously I'm just one small fish in many people that will pay for that service monthly, so why should they go to any great lengths to help me? So now I'm left in that position where I could either go through all that work again and research another supplier and look for somebody else, but for me, I'm a small business, so I don't have the time to do all that. I've got other things I need to do with my time. I've already spent a lot of time on that. Who's to say that I'm not going to get a similar response from somebody else? With suppliers like this, where they have a lot of small suppliers, each paying small amounts every month, no one person's got a lot of clout, and so why should they listen to that person or be bent or swayed by anything that potential client might say? And so now I feel like I've just got to, if I want that product, I've just got to take it and accept the risks that go with it. So for me, what that means is if I just choose to go with them, then I will choose not to offer the same level of service that I would to the corporate market, and to continue looking elsewhere for something that offers that. That means that, and then when I do find that solution, then that supplier is going to finish. I'm not going to be able to, I'll go with the new supplier that I find.